chasing fire through the years half slow. Weights on my back, sweat in my eyes. Old man's fight never says die. Old man on the mat, still standing tall. One more round, yeah, I've heard it all. Grip the edge, don't let it slip. Strength in the soul, strength in the grip.
Hey, Old Man on the Mat crew, this is Tony Jones coming as another great episode of Old Man on the Mat. Guys, today's another day closer to freedom. We're all alive and well. But guys, I am so stoked about this guest we having on today. Man, let me tell you a little bit about this guy. First, when you hear his credentials, just picture a badass, okay? How about that? We just start from there, all right? So with this guy, listen up. This guy's a 4th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's also the founder of the Beta Academy out there in Washington, D.C. He has over 30 years of martial arts experience. He's done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, Judo, Kudo. The guy's done some of everything. He's also, and I think these are kind of cool. He's also was the IBJJF Masters No-Gi World Champion, Pan Am American Champion titles. The guy was also, he's former, he likes to say former, but I say he still is. Once you got it, you got it. He's the WKA Amateur Muay Thai World Champion. He also, listen to this, he's also serves as the chairman of the Black Belt Syndicate. We're going to talk about that because I told him it sounds like the mafia group, man. Well, with that, guys, I give you Nakapan Phungephorn. Did I say it right?
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that
Yes.
great introduction. I appreciate you very much.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. With this kind of credentials, I'm like, he wants to talk to little old fat me? Okay.
I love sharing martial arts with whoever, so I'm really happy that we connected, that you reached out to me. Old Man on the Mat, you look like a young man, but,
I appreciate it, man.
We can share some old man wisdom with some of your listeners. Okay, not to say that I'm a wise guy. I've made plenty of mistakes, but I've had plenty of experience too. And hopefully, for people who are getting into martial arts at an older age, I can share some of the things that you can avoid.
That's awesome, man. I like the way you say that, man. Hey, you know what? But you make mistakes. That's how you become wise, right? We've been where they're trying to get, in other words. You say it to my kids all the time when they question me on so many things. I said, darling, I've been where you're trying to get. Calm down. You know what I mean? But with that, we're going to have some fun today, guys. Let's dive right into this, man. How did you get into the martial arts? What was your first, foray into martial arts? Were you like a 2-year-old and just came out kicking stuff or what?
No, actually, I was an overweight, obese 11-year-old who just got over Lyme's disease. I've shared this with a couple of people, and that's
Wow.
it's when you get bitten by a tick and you get a parasite in your body, and basically what it does is gives you these terrible headaches and makes your joints super stiff. And so basically, I was confined to a wheelchair for about 2 weeks after getting the spinal tap. They were trying to check to see how far the disease had progressed in my body. And they were like, well, we got to put you on this regimen of antibiotics. You just take these antibiotics, and it took them like 3 months to figure out what the issue was, and then about 3 months to go over and deal with it, because I had this intravenous, basically this IV that was in my arm for a month, giving me these drugs. And during that time, I gained a lot of weight. I was very sedentary. And that's really was my life before that anyway. I was just, an ultimate couch potato and just sitting around playing video games, eating the most fattening food. And just, with no physical activity there, I really put on a lot of weight. And as I was incapacitated, I was watching a lot of Bruce Lee movies, a lot of B movies in general, like Best of the Best,
The best, man.
Blood Sport, and these are the days when you had to go to the movie rental store, right? Like even before Blockbuster like completely took over. Yeah, you go to the store and you don't know what you're going to find there, and there's always like a martial arts section. And so therefore, my grandfather who raised me rented a lot of movies, and then I said, look, one day when I'm able to move my body again, I'm going to go do that. And so I was lucky enough to get through the treatment, and then picked up the Yellow Pages, the big fat book back in the day. Go to the martial arts section and try to find some place to train. And then I found a kung fu school in Rockville, Maryland. So I was born and raised in Bethesda, Maryland, close to about 20 minutes north out of DC, which is where my martial arts school is now. And yeah, I was very lucky that I found the kung fu school that I did, and that's how I got started into martial arts.
Oh man, now that's a story to get started, man. Oh my gosh, man! But you bring up so many memories, man. Talking about all those kung fu movies, and the best of the best was probably one of the best karate movies, even with the bad actor. What was it? Eric Roberts trying to play.
But surprisingly, Eric Roberts, he trained Taekwondo, or so he looked like he did the
Yeah,
art. That was cool. And James
yeah.
Earl Jones is in that movie too. Surprisingly, I was like,
Oh
wow,
man,
this is great.
that's
Yeah,
some
that's a great
classics, man.
movie. People
Oh
got to
yeah.
watch that again. So it's so good,
You
so
know,
good.
you do. I tell people about those movies, and they're like, I don't know, that's old school. And I try to get my girl to watch them, and she'll just sit there on the phone watching them. I'm like, really,
Oh yeah,
this is good
it's
stuff. You don't
so
even know,
good.
man.
We
Oh
we were very
man,
very lucky to run in those movies back then. But
right?
definitely it influenced a lot of people. I think at the same time, my parents were really big into like Bruce Lee movies, so I had a lot of those. They bought them on VHS, and I was watching those as well, like Enter the
Oh,
Dragon,
cool.
Return of the Dragon, all that stuff. And
Yeah,
if you be hey people if they tune into Enter the Dragon right now, like there's a lot of wisdom in that movie, and a lot of
very much so,
yeah,
man.
yeah, a lot of hidden wisdom, and so
Yeah.
much that if you're a conspiracy theorist or whatever, I live my life with a tinfoil hat on. I'm like, they
You
killed
do
that
the
guy. They
same one,
had to.
yes.
He had so many good ideas, and he was telling people to be strong, yeah, they couldn't have that. You can't have strong people. That's not how you run the
That's
world.
right, man. They want it all down, man. I'm just tell
Yeah.
you, you're right. I got my tinfoil hat on all the time, and I talked to my girl on some things, and she said, "You want to take the hat off now?" I said, "Nope, that hat is
Yep.
sitting on." I tell you what's
Great.
going on right now in society.
Yeah, and
Oh man,
even if you don't believe it, it's still fun to talk about. I love them all.
it is.
Just keep them all. They're all theories, no big deal. You don't believe them, that's fine. What's the harm in talking
That's
about them?
okay. It's
Yeah.
a conversation piece. All of them are, and it's fun to pick people's brains and see how they think. Man, that's great, man. Now, when you were in kung fu, how far did you go with kung fu? Was it? Did it remind you of the old movies when you were doing it? As you start getting into it more, or what?
Well, back in those days, I'd say that was like 1991. It's very
Okay.
dominated by the karate, taekwondo. Like these classical martial arts are the ones that are really the ones you're seeing. So I found a kung fu school because I wanted to learn, Wing Chun kung fu, but that was nowhere
Yeah.
to be found in the East Coast. So I could find like a Northern Shaolin school. It was a very small school. Ended up going out of business by like 3 years after I joined. But I
Oh,
got a
wow.
lot of memories from it, and a lot of the people that I met from it really influenced my life, and I'm still friends with them today. But
Cool.
during that time, I was raised by my grandfather. He was the he was a Royal Thai Army mosquito weight
Wow.
amateur mosquito weight champion at one point. So martial arts to him was always
Wow.
something he grew up with. So he was
Wow.
very I would say like supportive about martial arts, but really didn't want me to get into any combat sports, no like actual fighting. And as a matter of
Really?
fact,
Okay.
and growing up I was first generation born American Thai here. Muay Thai back in those days when he was growing up and up until like the 90s was seen as something that was like in the words of my grandfather, that's a low class thing to do. It's like it's
Oh
something you
man,
don't
really?
because it's like you're poor, and for him it's like even though he came here and worked in a 7-Eleven and a gas station, he came from an affluent family over there only to move here and take a very low paying job. But he was like, no, you don't want to do that. Like that's not what we do. That's something that people
Wow.
have to do, and a lot of times people were
Really?
kidnapped. Like some 5-year-old is in the street, he's selling fruit, and all of a sudden he's like found himself in a gym, and they're like, "We're going to give you these shorts, these gloves, learn how to, and then we're going to get you in there to fight, and we're going to make money off you." That's just
What?
that's kind of like how it. That's kind of how it is. Not so, and then you get that
Yeah.
Stockholm. You get the Stockholm syndrome where you're like, "Oh, I love the gym, I love Muay Thai." And you're doing it, and then now
Yeah.
it's a part of you, right?
Wow.
So that's something he didn't really want me to get into, but he did want me to be competitive in martial arts. So for a long time, I
Yeah.
traveled the United States every week to go to these NASCA tournaments and do point sparring and do weapons tournaments.
Wow.
And so basically, my house was filled with all these trophies that were a homage to my grandfather. I didn't even want these things, but he was like, "Let's go over here. They have
Wow.
6-foot trophies here. They got this and that." So that was
What?
a whole life for a long time was just traveling the United States and just doing these tournaments. But I learned a lot from it, but it wasn't really combat, I would say.
Okay. Okay.
It was only
Yeah.
until like a 1994 I went to Thailand. I studied Muay Thai, and
Oh wow.
I wanted to do that because in the United States, it's like it's a big melting pot. It's almost like you kind of can easily forget your culture. And even
Yeah,
though
true.
Thai was my first language, as soon as I went to an English speaking school, it became like my second language, right? So I was like, where do I
Wow.
come from? What do I do? How can I get connected to my roots? And I was like, I want to do Muay Thai. I want to do this. And that's also because my grandfather, he'd go to like the local Thai grocery store, and in there they had like a bootleg section where they bootleg fights, and so he'd come home with like, hey, let's watch this, and I'd be, oh man, that's so cool. So yeah, and
That's
when
awesome.
I went to Thailand for about 2 months in 1994. Got connected with some good gyms, and then I came back, and then my kung fu school kind of closed, and I was lucky enough to find a school that taught Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Back in those days,
Oh
also
man.
that's when UFC came out, right? Like
Yeah.
that was the big thing, and so all my friends who in my kung fu class, we would always go into the backyard and be like, let's just go at it and see, well, imagining
Yeah, I
we're
remember
fighting in the
that.
cage,
Yeah.
so that was a cool time, and I just happened to run into my kung fu friend during a lunch. I remember this. We're out there at lunch in high school, and he's like, "Hey, I caught this flyer, and it's basically like a drawing of like a guy in a triangle choke." And he's like, "I found Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, dude. Like, we're gonna go do this." And I was like, "No way! This is amazing!" Because
Oh
we now
man.
we get to be like Hoist Gracie. And so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was a big influence at that time, watching the UFC. So
Oh yeah.
again,
Oh
very
yeah.
fortunate to find a school to do both, and I fell in love with it. That's all I wanted to do.
Man, that's awesome, man. So you were a martial arts from a very young age, or got into the martial arts at a young age, and especially about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu that started out years ago. One of my claim to fame, and I wear this with a badge of honor. I was in Davenport, Iowa. Me and my old college roommate, we just finished school. We're walking through down the street to Davenport, Iowa. We're looking for a place to train because I was already in martial arts and all that kind of stuff. I was judo, Kodokan, jujitsu, all that stuff.
Nice.
And so I was looking for a place to train in Davenport, Iowa. I go to school. I think it's still there. I was there before. I think it's still there. Nick Tarpin's Karate. We walk in about noon, 1 o'clock, and we're like, "Hey, we're looking for a place to train," And he's like, "Well, the gym is closed here or anything." And I said, "Oh," he said, He gave me a schedule for nighttime." I said, I got to work at nighttime. I think I was delivering pizzas at the time. I got to work at night. He says to me, he says, "Well, you know what? I got a guy here. He just came back from Brazil, learning this new art of grappling. You want to try it?" And so I'm like, now he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, come on." So this guy jumps on the mat with us. Kodokan Jiu Jitsu, I know some groundwork.
Yeah, yeah,
Tied me up like there was no tomorrow. My face is in the mat, twisted all up, everything. And we finished up. The guy was, great time. And it was Pat Miletich. I don't know if you know who that
yeah.
is or
Pat
not, but
Miletich. You grapple with Pat
yeah.
Miletich?
No, no,
Yes.
no. I got beat up by Pat Miletich.
Oh, you got beat up by Pat Miletich. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yes, exactly right, man. He had just came back from Gracie's over there in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I didn't know anything about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, but that was my claim to fame. Walking down the street, going to Nick Tarpon School of Karate, and I get my face just smooshed into the mat for a while.
Amazing. What year was that?
Oh my gosh. I finished school in 92, so it was 93, if I'm not
Okay, you
mistaken.
probably get
About
exposed to it around the same
93.
time.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But hey, small world, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just run into Pat Miletich. No big deal.
I know, right? I didn't know who this guy was. Oh, yeah, great. I'll rather grow up with anybody. I was like, and my buddy's on the side, and he didn't even roll with him. He just saw what was happening to me, and he was just like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's the beauty of grappling. It can humble you. So
Oh,
I think that's where
in a
there's a
heartbeat.
lot of value in that, and you don't really have to
Yeah,
hurt the person permanently to make them understand that that you
yeah,
could.
yeah, yeah. He could. Anyway, it was great. So that turned my mind towards the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Oh man, what is that? So I did other stuff then. But anyway, so you started your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at that small place. Did you stay there the whole time, or did you go somewhere
I
else?
was there. The first school I was at was the Yamazaki Academy. First teacher was Mario Yamasaki. His brother Fernando. He came a lot later. He was a UFC
Yeah,
referee, probably known as
yeah.
that's probably his like biggest claim to fame there. And I was there for a pretty good long time, probably until I was a brown belt. And as you know, like there's always politics that happen, and my Muay Thai teacher split off, and then he opened his own school, so I had to kind of decide, which side I was going. And I was young. I didn't really know what's up. If I knew better, I would keep, I try to stay closer to everybody, but
Yeah,
it was difficult. But yeah, so I was there for a
I
pretty
get it.
long time, and I've trained with a lot of different people over the years. I initially got my black belt from Master Pedro Sauer, who is a black belt under Dixon Gracie,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's probably one of the biggest organizations in
Oh yeah,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that's only because like we were like Ronins. We were like three brown belts, just didn't have a home. So our whole
yeah.
thing was like, we'll prove our worthiness by going around and taking as many challenges as possible. So back in those days, it was like Grappler's Quest, all the Nagas, all like these weird professional grappling things that were coming up. We would try to compete in as much as possible. And I think during those days too, there were not as many. Um, I did a lot of no gi, because there was enough knowledge at that time. We were always trying to find somebody to teach us something. And they just,
Right.
and even when I was training at the Yamazaki Academy, they would be sending up different Brazilians who were like, we're sending up a new guy. He's going to live in America for a while.
Wow.
He's going to teach you guys jujitsu. And like I was a blue belt, I was learning from a purple belt. When I was a purple belt, I was learning from a brown belt. There just weren't as many
Wow.
black belts during that time.
Yeah.
And information was kind of like very scarce and far between. So we had to pick up as many arts as we possibly could. And I kind of came from that background with my Muay Thai teacher, Master Mike Moses. He was kind of like the Jeet Kune Do mentality, So he learned
Okay.
Muay
Yeah.
Thai, he learned Filipino martial arts, he's learning, he has
Yes.
a karate background, and then we're learning Jiu-Jitsu, we're learning Judo. So I find that, I like to take it more of like a martial arts approach and borrow from as many styles as possible and try to see the
Yeah.
similarities between them, because I think that's where
Yeah.
some of the new revolutionary like techniques will come out of, right? Like how can we use this
Absolutely.
and apply this in a different environment?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, all the friends that I've made through jiu-jitsu are still my friends, and that's one of the beauties
That's cool.
about jiu-jitsu and martial arts in general is all the connections you make.
Yeah, you make some great friends over time. You really do, man. I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu holds that community very well, that family, that bond very well. But on the other hand, you also see places that shun against it too. They don't want you training anywhere else. Have you had that experience?
When I was coming up, that was basically the party line. It's this is our
Okay.
team. We don't
Yeah.
train with other teams because we might be competing against them. And I think also this is kind of like leftover culture from just the Gracies in general. Like they're very secretive about what in terms of techniques and guarding those things. And I understand why. They also came in from an environment that was it was full of conflict. They were fighting those
Yeah.
lucha libre guys, and this and that, and they had secrets they
Yeah.
wanted to keep. And it's like, oh, it must be like a crazy kung fu movie from back in those days,
Yeah,
man.
the back old
But
school stuff. You killed my
yeah,
master. You know.
yeah. And then when I was going to Brazil into different competitions, it's like a soccer field, man. They got teams and flags and songs, and like one side's
Wow.
cheering and the other side's cheering, and they're rioting and they're fighting, and man, it gets crazy in there. So
Holy cow.
I get why it's like that, just from, and I think soccer culture also spills into that type of thing.
Yeah.
So it was difficult for me to, keep as many contacts as I wanted to, as we were kind of like, moving here and there. But
Yeah.
over time, I ended up training with a lot of people. I think the culture is much different, much more different than it was then. I mean, they have a term they call it creonge, right? Like somebody who's like a traitor. He doesn't even train with us.
Oh.
He's over there. Yeah, that's like that's like a
Oh
Portuguese
man.
term, a creonge. He's all creonge.
Wow.
So
That is
that's
old
from
kung
that.
fu stuff, man.
Yeah. I think we need to share martial arts, and I think that's important to be able to train with other people. Now, that being said, as a school owner myself, I do understand the complexities around that, and that you don't want like an exodus of people to go somewhere else, and they're paying their dues somewhere else, and of course that means
That
less
makes a lot of
opportunity for
sense.
you and your people. So I mean, I
Yeah.
get that, but if you have a good
Yeah.
program and you are creating a good community, I don't think that's so much of an issue, so long as people
Right.
do understand that, like, you have a home base, right? Like, you can go over there
Yeah.
too, you can go train over there, but understand this
Yeah.
is your home base. These are the people you want to support. These are the people that you want to grow as well. But when you go somewhere else, be a good ambassador for our academy, make some connections, make some friends. Let's pull each
That's
other
cool.
together. So I think that's all
Yeah.
good. But at the same time, it is a combat sport. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on out there. And so
Yeah.
therefore, just we have to understand what the guidelines are. And so I'm
Yeah.
hoping to stay
But,
out of
that
place.
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, And like I said before, that surprised me with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in essence, because, I'm traveling now. I'm semi retired, so I travel a lot to go different places and train in different places. And you see some of these guys, and you're free to walk into some of the mats and, tell them who your instructor is and blah, 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 who you are, and you go on a change. I was very surprised by that mindset when I left Illinois, and he was like, yeah, go check out this school over here, go check out these guys over there. I can't say when he said it I wasn't surprised, but before then I was just surprised that it was allowed, quote
Yeah.
unquote allowed. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
it was very different, very different. Because how do you feel about this? Because I know, like my first martial arts instructor was Sensei Smiley, did Kodokan Jiu Jitsu, and his philosophy was every art. And I've said this before on some of my episodes. Every art has a hole. They're missing something. And his philosophy was you get a foundation in one art, and then you go out to other arts and you fill those holes. You know what I mean? So his thing was, once you become a brown belt or higher, then you can go and find. He didn't beat us over the head to make us stay, but that was his philosophy, to find one that was your base. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, now that I've been training martial arts for over 30 years, I think it's important in the beginning, to have like a good base to work off of. But again, when you go and you start learning other things, you have to kind of take that philosophy of Bruce Lee, right? Keep it an empty cup, and be
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
don't know anymore. And so when I was training Muay Thai, I was from this karate background, this kung fu background, right? So a lot of the things that I did was very much classical martial arts, and I didn't let that go until I had my first fight. Actually, I got beat up pretty bad my first fight,
Oh,
because I was like, I'm not going to
okay.
let go of this like point style type of movement and this karate type
Ooh,
of
yeah.
style. And when I threw a kick, the guy didn't stop. He just kept coming forward, and I was like, man, now it's like, full contact, continuous sparring. So I said, I got
Yeah.
to empty my cup, and I have to learn this. And therefore, and then also I emptied my cup so much that I was like, I'm not even going to do that other stuff anymore. And when I saw myself
Ah.
throwing like a hook kick or something in an MMA fight, I was like, why'd I do that? I'm a Muay Thai guy. I should only be doing Muay Thai stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we get locked up in that way too. But really, I go back to the philosophy of Bruce Lee, which is take what is useful, discard what is useless, and make it uniquely your own, right? So
Yeah.
eventually you're going to have your own way of doing things that fits your temperament, that fits your physical attributes, that fits your attitude.
I like that.
And
Yeah.
therefore, I think that's what makes the art part of the martial art, is it's unique to the person.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can't say that one is better than the other, and maybe something is better for one person than it is another. But if you take the standpoint of like it's all martial art and there is value in everything, then let's go ahead and take the time to learn as many as we possibly can. That's my goal. I want to learn as much as I can, because the more that you learn, the more that you realize you don't know a whole lot. You know,
Right.
yeah. So and
Oh man.
that's something that's been really helpful. Now I've been really focusing on judo and Brazilian
Mm.
jiu-jitsu and kudo. I'm like really focusing on gi arts, and I try to
Yeah.
find the techniques. What should I focus on, right? Like, because if depending upon what you can do in one sport rule set, will probably throw out some other stuff. And so I'm looking for similarities, things that I can use in all three rule sets, and that allows me to focus my energy on certain techniques that can be more useful in everything. And in that, maybe I'll find another method of doing it in a way that makes sense to
Okay.
me. And
Yeah.
I'm on this quest to become a triple crown world champion. I made that up myself. That is
Okay.
yeah, that is a over 45 world champion in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, kudo, and judo.
Wow, man.
Yeah, so that in doing so, I learn a lot, and it keeps me focused, and it gives me new goals to work on. It also makes jujitsu more fun. Although I've been focusing most of my attention on that, it's like, okay, now let's figure out some throws that get us into some groundwork that gets us quickly to submission. Because even in kudo, you don't have a lot of time to work on the ground, so it
Yeah,
just
you
kind of
go to
keeps you
fast. Yeah.
focused, and makes it more fun. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I love all martial arts, and I think they all have value.
That's pretty cool, man. The way you talk, and I tell you, to listen to you explain your philosophy, that is an old martial arts way of thinking. That's really cool. Learning so much. You mentioned Bruce Lee in that. You're learning everything and see
Yeah.
what works and what doesn't work. With your art over there at your academy, at the Beta Academy, do you have your own style over there that you're teaching, or do you teach the traditional Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, those things?
Uh, I we have a curriculum, okay, and the curriculum is to give you just as you were saying, a foundation in those arts. Thing about jujitsu, it literally has no foundational curriculum. I think if you go from one school to another, everybody has something different. Whereas, the Kodokan
Yeah.
has a standardized set of techniques. They all have names. This is something you're
Hmm.
supposed to know.
Yep.
And so it's a challenge to always do. And I find that, every year we're always reviewing the curriculum to make it better. But essentially, it's something you can learn within a few years that'll give you a good, let's say, vocabulary in the martial arts for you to understand
Yeah.
positions, concepts, and then from then on to build on. And as you become more and more skilled in it, you'll have your own way. And so I can't say that I have techniques that I prefer. I have techniques. Criteria is such that it has to have some self-defense utility. It's got to be applicable to sport too, because some people like to play sports. So I don't want you to do
Yeah.
from one end to the other. So they have to be applicable to that, and they're safe to learn, and they help you develop the fastest you possibly can. So these are kind of like the criteria that we look to pick and choose what techniques they are, or else everybody's going to be a carbon copy of me, and each copy gets worse and worse and worse, right? So I don't want
Okay.
that. I want people to be able to explore their own abilities. And so, as you come up, we have an academy, and that's the academy. It is an acronym for Body Efficient Tactical Arts. Really, like efficiency is what we're looking for in all respects. And so therefore, as you come up through the ranks in our academy, you should be teaching at some point, right? That's the only way that this
Right.
continues to get passed on from one person to another.
Yeah.
And so in doing so, you'll be able to develop your own technique, your own way of doing things, your own way of explaining things. And that's where like the art comes in, where I don't want to create a bunch of robots who have to like do everything exactly as I say, but I will give you a framework to operate on. And we do want to make sure
Okay.
that we are rooted in Budo and traditional in respect and discipline and all those. And because, with MMA being what it is right now, it's like a circus, right? It's
Yeah.
like,
It
it's a,
is, man. It's just
it,
wow.
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
like I hurt that guy, and the guy's celebrating, and I get it. Like
Yeah.
you're excited, you won, and everything. But if that person did not step into the ring with you, you wouldn't have that experience, right? So we have to respect that.
Right.
We respect him as a martial artist. And I know that goes on behind the scenes, but like, of course, in the actual what is being produced and presented to the general population, it's like there's beef. These guys don't like each other.
Yeah.
They disrespect each
Yeah.
other. Talk about each other's moms.
Yeah.
So that's not martial art. You know that, and you and I both know that.
No.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I think it's important to have that, particularly if we want martial arts to be a positive force in our society. Because I think it's something that can change the world for the better, and I think it's great
Absolutely.
for young men and women to learn. And so therefore,
Absolutely.
that's really what I offer there as a program. Our main paths of progress are through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and through Muay Thai. Those are our main arts. But I do want to have Judo and Kudo become a program there at some point. It's just that it becomes more difficult to manage when you have multiple different programs with multiple different
Oh,
martial arts.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Now, how many students do you have there, roughly?
We have about close to 700 students right now. So it's a big
Wow.
school. We have 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
We're right in the city. I mean, my rent is very expensive. It's like
Oh, I
$25,000 a
bet.
month. So
Whoa,
we're operating. Yeah,
whoa.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
7 days a week. We're 7 days a week. We don't close. We're open on holidays
Wow.
as well. So
Wow.
there's a lot, and DC is a transient city, so there's a lot of people
Mm.
moving in and out all the time. The people that live there aren't necessarily from there, and I like to think
Yeah.
of ourselves as like a meeting ground, a place where people can connect to a community. So sometimes
That's
you do get
cool.
people coming in from out of town that have some experience, and for the most part, a lot
Yeah.
of people don't have experiences. So then, for we can connect them
Yeah.
with something that gives us all something to be a part of.
That's really cool. And that's some time consuming. I love how you're doing 7 days a week because a lot of places they're closed, you know.
Well, it's like we have this space, and if it's not doing anything, then it's just literally not doing anything. So, but we
Yeah.
have a lot of people. I like to train on the weekends. A lot of it is just my own personal selfishness. I'm like, I need a place to go train on
Nah, that's
Sunday, and why would I
yeah.
go anywhere else? I might as well have a class,
Yeah.
and as long as somebody's willing to be there when I'm not there, then they can run it. Now, although we're open 7 days a week, I'm not there every day. As a matter of fact, now I'm on the mat teaching maybe like 3 hours a week. So it's not a whole lot. A lot of my time is spent.
Kudos to you, brother.
Well, it
Yeah.
took a lot of time to
Kudos
get
to you,
there, but
brother.
I would be there. I would be there all the time. That it's my first
Yeah.
love to be there on the mat. But
Yeah.
I do have to make way for other people to spread their wing. Because if I'm there on the mat all the time, it doesn't really give people opportunity. And also, I'm probably not pursuing other opportunities that I could be better focused on than other people's. But
I
7
love
days a
that,
week.
man.
I think the only day we close is Christmas Day, and even then, sometimes I'm open because sometimes I want to train on Christmas, and I have my friends come
Yeah,
by. So
yeah.
that happens a lot. My friend Murillo Santana, who runs Unity Jiu Jitsu, he's in New York. He comes down to meet his family on Christmas, and he is a crazy person. He cannot not train, so he makes sure to reach out to me and says like, "Hey, Nakapan, you going to be open on Christmas?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You want to train?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, we'll train with you, man. Let's go."
Merry
So
Christmas. Bring a gift.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he ends up his gift is end up choking me out for about 2 minutes, but he always shows me something good. So, and
That's good, man.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for it. But yeah, so
Those are the best
running a
gifts.
school has been tough. Been there for about 17
Yeah,
years now, and we are right
that's awesome.
in the heart of DC. It's
That's
something that
awesome.
I did before I was 30. I wanted to be free from my day job. I'd say I still am a licensed certified public accountant in the state of Virginia.
Oh man.
So it
Well,
helps me.
you don't have the glasses with the tape on them.
Oh yeah, right, yeah, yeah,
The accounting glasses, the nerdy
yeah.
glasses.
Which is funny because when I was doing accounting, I was working in corporate accounting. I was hoping for this moment right here when I have gray hair. I was like, you know what? I'm 20 years old. No one respects me. I'm in charge of this finance department, but one day I'm gonna have gray hair and people are gonna respect me. Dang it! And I was like, why am I wishing and waiting to spend these years of my life, best years of my life, sitting here, and I got to go do something else. And so I decided, I'm going to go open a school. But that, of course, was my sixth
Oh,
business.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I failed, opened and closed many businesses
Yep.
up
Been
to
there.
then. Yep, there you go. So luckily, without too much collateral damage and being in debt, but it ended up being something that I'm passionate about and have a purpose. I feel like I have a purpose in, and that's martial arts that led me to where we are today. So, and I got a great team there. I got about 7 full timers that work at the school, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and I mean this. So
That's awesome.
20 years ago, you would have said, "Hey, I want to be a jujitsu instructor." We'll laughed at you. I think they still laugh at me
Yeah.
now. Still an
Let them
instructor.
laugh. Let them
Yeah,
laugh all the
nah,
way, man. Let
that's
them laugh.
fine. When I talk to my friends, I often get the friends like, "Oh, because I got a real job." I'm like, "I know, I don't have a real job."
Yeah, right. They don't even know. See, that's the problem. Those 9 to 5ers, they think as a business owner, there's no 9 to 5.
No,
They're
all
sun
the
up or
time.
sun down. You're in there.
So yeah, you're in it all
Yeah.
the time. It's a labor of love, right? So you're just busy
Yeah.
all the time. But yeah, so I just wanted to do something that I felt passionate about, and luckily I had some good help and met some good people. I had some good mentors, and about right before my 30th birthday, I was able to quit my job and just run the academy. Well, of course, that came with a lot of stress. You're like, man,
Of
where's the
course.
next thing going to come from? Like the world is made to
Yeah.
make you anxious about how much money you have or how much money you don't.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
crazy, and it's
Oh yeah.
crazy. But this is the world we live
Yeah.
in, and so for those of you that want to get involved in and make martial arts your passion and your goal, like I think that's one of the things that really propelled my skill and ability. It was actually having to run the school and being like, okay, now I'm responsible to my students. I have to make sure I'm competent. I have to make sure that I'm giving them the right information, and so therefore, like, let's study even harder. So it's not like the end of martial arts practice. It's actually like another way to really expand upon your ability, and just another motivational, just the thing that pushes you to learn more.
I'm telling you, I'm geeking over here, man. I just love your thought process, your mindset of what you're doing, philosophy in life and business. And this, hey, kudos to you, my friend. I'm glad, man. That's awesome. The Black Belt Syndicate, that's to help train other people, right? Other schools.
Train martial arts school owners. So people who want to grow their schools. I've been in the business for 17 years. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm not saying that like I'm the ultimate guru that's going to help you make millions of dollars. I don't think, but my goal is to hopefully help steer you away from some of the pitfalls that I've fallen victim to. Because lots of things can go wrong, in a martial arts school, and also to offer more of like a partnership, like a brotherhood. And so in jujitsu, it's like the ultimate pyramid scheme, where you can't
Yeah.
make black belts unless you're a third degree black belt. Some people are, some Ronins that need some guidance in that area. Although, that's an area that I can help with. Really, my passion is to help spread martial arts. As I said before, it is a positive force. I think it also can be a negative force, depending upon who you are as a person and what what you're trying to share with your students. I've been a part of that too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think overall, if we treat it right, if we're good stewards of martial arts, that it can be a positive force in a lot of people's lives. And therefore, if I can help martial arts school owners grow their school, be successful, spread the positive message, that's really what the Black Belt Syndicate is here for. People, if you're like 100 students, we can help you get to 300 students. You have 300, hopefully we can get you help to 600. We have about right now 4 schools in our affiliation, and I'm trying to keep it
Okay.
small for the last year because I want to make sure that I have a good track record to show that if you join our program, we can help your school grow. And we're just about ready to open up the floodgates, so to speak, right? So like we can
Oh, wow.
take on more people. But a lot of the people that
That's good, man.
it's not just me either. I have a lot of people that I've worked with. A lot of my team members, like my general manager, who's been with me for almost 15 years now,
Wow.
retired Navy, loves jujitsu. He's seen every ups and downs I've had in my life, but he's also helped me build every single system I have at the academy. Probably could tell
That's
you a
cool.
lot better about how to sign somebody up, how to set up your CRM systems than I can. So I have a really
Wow.
strong team with me that have been with me throughout the whole time that have a lot to offer. And it's amazing,
Yeah.
as I said, you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends, former students. I've opened up schools, and I know the challenges they have at the level that they're at. But I'm a firm believer.
Yeah.
Look, like you may not be rich doing martial arts, although some people can get rich. If that's what you want to do,
And
you can. But you can
yeah.
lead a rich life. You can have a very
Yeah.
wealthy, fruitful life, spend time with your family, do the things you love to do, and run an honest business. And I went to school for it. I have an accounting degree. I got an MBA and all that stuff. And you don't need any of that stuff. All that stuff just taught me to do is become a cog in the corporate gears that turn repeatedly.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. And that's all you're
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
It's this treadmill of happiness to give you a little bit more money to do a job that you don't want to do. And if you love martial arts, like this is something that can free you, but it's also something that can imprison you, because if you
Yes.
don't really have the systems to run it, if you don't understand, how to deal with a tax man and how to make sure you're, because everybody has a
Yeah.
business partner, and that is Uncle Sam. He's always in your pocket, and it's not
Yeah.
really about how much money you're making; it's how much money you're keeping, and that's where some of my CPA knowledge can help a lot of people too. It's like, how do I win this game? Because as you were saying, we live in a world of tinfoil hat. Like, do we want to be expending our best years of our life just trying to make money doing things that we don't care about, or are we looking
Yeah.
for opportunities to reach personal freedom? And what is that? Hopefully freedom
Yeah.
from money, because people think that money is going to free you. Really, it just makes you more of a slave, because you're like, how do I get that next dollar? How do I do that
Exactly.
next thing?
Exactly.
When am I ever going to do the thing I want to do? Well, maybe it's after I pay off this next bill, but then it's like,
Right.
I got some more bills because I got some new things that are
Stacking up.
happening.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
And
Oh,
so,
yeah. Tomorrow never comes, man, for that stuff,
yeah,
man. Oh,
yeah,
my gosh, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately, that's just how the world is created, to extract
Yeah.
productivity and to make us think that we're free. But as a matter of fact, we're a slave to the dollars.
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time. I heard someone say this. I don't know. This was recently or years ago. Someone said, how do we get to the point where we have to pay to live on a planet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We live on this planet that we were born into, or whatever your belief system is. How do we get to the point we have to pay to stay alive here? That's crazy.
Because
That's
now
insane, man.
money is God. That's what they've told us. It's like
That's right,
it's
man.
what you need to do, and so you're like willing
Yeah.
to spend all your efforts to get that next dollar, or to get that next
Yep.
piece of currency, hopefully to buy that dream that you've been looking for that whole time.
Yeah. Then
Really,
that's held by something too. You got to chase that. When you get that, you're just locked onto something else in the system. Trust me, brother. We wear the same tinfoil hat, my
yeah,
friend.
yeah. Hopefully this thing that you're doing now with the podcast, we can get more of ideas out there. I think I think you're doing
Yeah.
a great thing, by putting your time into this, and
Thanks,
hopefully
brother.
us sharing our ideas and getting some different ideas out. Not to say that our ideas are the ideas, but
But they are great ones.
you should listen
That's
to
awesome.
us. Should listen to
That's
us.
right, man.
Yeah.
Like I always say, the world would be so much better if they just listen to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Right. But you see, you're living your
Man.
best life. Like martial arts is leading you to this right now.
Yeah.
You got you have a
Yeah.
successful podcast. You're still training martial arts. I mean,
Yeah,
it
brother.
leads to great things. It leads to great things. So those of you that are not trained in martial arts, go to your local martial arts school and
Train in
sign up.
martial
Even if
arts.
you're older athlete, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do
Yeah.
it.
Now, that's a good question. Now, let's jump on that. So when you see an older guy walk into your place, he hasn't trained before, he's trying to get in shape, what would you have him be the first thing to do?
I would have him sign up for a class. That's the
There it
first thing.
is.
And I would say why? And of course, our classes are free. We offer free trials for everybody to give it a try. But because people think I have to go get in shape before I do martial arts.
Yes. Yeah. People think that. Yeah.
Right. And so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, you're not in shape now. Are you going to go out there and get in shape and then you think you're going to come back? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Really, what
It's
it's
not.
meant to be is I hate working out. I honestly, I do. I have to do strength and conditioning because that's what's going to give me the recipe to win. But at the same time, I
Yeah.
understand that people don't want to do that. And that's one thing about martial arts is you're getting in shape by doing something. And also in that doing of something, you're acquiring a skill. And I think that is a big appeal of martial arts, right? If you only have an hour of your day that you can dedicate to personal fitness, personal improvement, let's put it to martial arts. Let's sign up and just get in there right now, right? And so, but also that person may not be in shape, but has that person been in shape at all in their life? And if they have,
Mm,
I would also caution them because if you're 50 right now and you want to get into martial arts, you haven't done anything for 10 years. You're not the way you were when you were 20, when you were playing football. So
right.
let's at
Right.
least temper our expectations and our reality. And it's really about the consistency. So I would tell that person, it's not about the intensity. Okay. If you get in there and you just go full go, you run into a wall, like tomorrow, you're not going to feel good. You're not going to want to come and do it anymore. You're probably going to be
Yep.
broken. And if you're an older athlete like us, you're going to have more time to recover
Yeah.
than it was when you were 20
Yeah.
years old. So I would say, look, let's just get you to like 70% of what you think you can do today. Right. And it's
Okay.
hard to tell what that is if you haven't done anything in a while. But let's just get a good
Yeah.
workout. We don't have to get it necessarily a great workout. And if we show up tomorrow or we show up the day after, that's really what we're looking to do. And if we can show up consistently and not get injured and not have other things get in the way, we can actually make time for this as opposed to just, revving the engine in the red line. Some people, when they get in here, they're like, okay, I want to train 5 days a week. I want to train as much as I can, but I haven't done anything for the last couple of years. And so what happens?
Right.
Your life's going to catch up with you. All the chores and the errands and
Absolutely.
stuff that you would have been doing when you weren't coming to train, you still have to do.
Yeah.
So let's start
Yeah.
slow. Let's start at maybe let's start 2 hours a week, one class. All right, today, one class in a day or two. And then if we can do
Yeah.
that consistently for 30, 60 days, now we can think about adding more. And if you're excited about it,
Yeah.
great. I want you to be excited about it. I don't want to extinguish that. And it's very easy to extinguish that in the beginning. So how can we fan those flames instead of just like putting it out, And so therefore,
Yeah.
as an older athlete, we do have to be aware of that. I mean, there are, look, aging is real. Things do happen. Okay. I know in the numbers in
Yep.
the mind, there are a couple things that
Yep.
do diminish. One is like explosive strength, right? Like with your plyometric strength, like punching and kicking speed is definitely going to
Yeah.
diminish. Your ability to run real fast is going to diminish. Your flexibility is going to diminish. So, I mean, it's the truth. But what do we have? We have patience. We have hopefully wisdom. Can we use
Yeah.
the things that we've gained here in an older age to help us pick up some new skill? And I think yes, if we're being guided, in the right way and not looking in class and watching these 20-year-olds going crazy and thinking we have to keep up with them, then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say this is an important thing to understand. And even though we think we have less in terms of physical ability at an older age, we actually gain a lot of things at the same time. How can we leverage our strengths? How can we leverage our advantages on the mat? Another thing that we gain also in the sport of grappling is old man strength. That thing is real.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
ability
That's real.
to hold on to something and cinch onto something becomes very strong.
Yeah.
Your ligaments and tendons are very mature. And so therefore, like that's another thing that you get as you get older. So how can we leverage that in what we're doing skill wise, techniques that we choose? So that's a very interesting thing and a very interesting aspect to martial arts as a whole, because your body is going to change. There's injuries that you tend to suffer. I mean, I wish they could be a zero potential for injury, but you know that there is
Yeah, I
a chance. There's
wish.
always a chance. And
Yeah.
in doing so, as long as you come back and you do the rehab, you recover the right way, and you're back on the mat. I try to make sure I don't even miss being on the mat. I come to class, I can't participate,
Yeah.
but I'll watch, learn something
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
but then maybe the choice of what the skills or techniques that you want to do might change. Like you can't uchimata anymore because you did something into your hip. Maybe you got to take on this
Yeah.
technique instead, and that's cool too because you have it forces you to learn something new. And
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh yeah.
that's what keeps martial arts fun. As long as you're learning something
Yeah.
new and it comes interesting, that'll keep you involved and engaged. But long game, not the short game.
Yeah.
Got to be in the long game.
Long game.
Let's say
I like that, man. I love that. I love it because you go on the mat, especially guys our age, and we're old farts. I like to say that. We still can hold our own, but we're still old farts. Do you have a lot of old guys like us at your gym?
We got everybody, but some of the oldest students we got are over 60 years old. We used to have a guy that was over, woman that was over 70. I think it's great,
Nice.
But as I said, using your words is the first line of self-defense. You can always say no to train somebody. I do that all the time. Like, hey, not today, not today. Maybe later. It's not you. It's mostly me. I'm trying not to get injured right now. I got this thing going on, or I have an injury. I want to make sure your time here is respected and you're having a good time. But I think that there are more and more people are getting involved all the time. I want people to understand that it's not something it's a young person's sport.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it's great. I think the IBJJF, the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation, and now the International Judo Federation is discovering that it is the older athletes with disposable income that support their events. And so therefore, how do we make more events that are catered to them? And I would argue that the Masters World Championship is actually bigger than the regular World Championship. You get more people in it. And they got seminars, they got expos, they got exhibits, they got showcase all kinds of stuff. It's because they know that these over 30-year-olds, over 40-year-olds, over 50-year-olds, over 60. I saw some 70-year-olds doing some shiai at a judo tournament the other day, and they're like, these are the people that are going to support our sport. And they have the time, they got the money. Let's get them involved. Forget about these 18-year-olds who don't got jobs and just like living these crazy dreams. Hey, look,
and they bounce all everywhere.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to give them opportunity to grapple for our entertainment. Yes. And,
right.
And they are the future. Yes. Okay, that's fine. But we're the ones supporting the sport. So how can we make it more palatable, more digestible for people that are older that want to get into it? And I think there's a lot of positive aspects for somebody older getting into something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, like you said, I think it's an old man sport. In essence, I mean, for that old man sports, it's very good for old people to come into because there's not a lot of kicking and punching and jumping around. And as judo, you're getting thrown into the ground. That's the only thing I hated about judo back in the day was just hitting that mat and then having to get back up, down. Man, I thought I was in some kind of Catholic church, man, up and down, up and down.
Yeah. It's but one thing about the judo right now, jiu-jitsu and judo, I think they're one and the same. They're one and the same.
They are. They're
quickly diverging because of the sport aspect of it, taking it in two different directions. The thing I'm really sad about is watching jiu-jitsu now and not knowing how to take anybody down. That's you can be a black belt right now.
Down.
Yeah, you can be a black belt right now and have no idea how to get the fight to the ground. It's like, well, your skills are absolutely worthless if you can't get there. You can't in a real fight. You lay down like that, somebody's gonna stomp you down, and we can't.
Exactly, him and his buddy's gonna stomp you. It's never a one man fight anymore, man. Come on.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I was learning jiu-jitsu, the first thing we learn is a technical stand-up, how to get up off the ground, to get up and fight and run away. So, this is the opposite. And there's a lot of positives to it now. I get it as a sport, but let's not forget that it has to be rooted in fighting at the same time, or at least rooted in self-defense. And I think we're doing it a disservice right now. But in any case, I'm all over the place with it. I think that people should learn takedowns as a component of their jiu-jitsu. And the sooner you learn it, the younger you learn it, as you were saying, the better it is because, that getting up after falling down repeatedly is exhausting and can hurt the body. So you might as well learn those lessons when you're a lot younger and able to recover fast.
You could take that throw.
Yeah. But in any case, even if you're over 40 or 50, you can still do judo. You just have to be more conscientious about how you approach it. Like you'd be more careful and cautious about your body.
Yeah, and I'd say if you get older guys coming in, and I'm just talking to everybody else out there, to learn how to fall, go through the falling process. You know what I mean? Learn. That's the biggest thing in any martial arts, in my opinion. Because I had my own studio a few years back. We had an agreement with the nursing home that we would come in on Saturdays to show them how to fall. because in the Midwest it's snowing all the time. We just try to teach them how to fall the right way,
Yeah,
so they won't bust their hips and all this stuff. And it works in martial arts. 'Cause I see a lot of guys in any martial art that don't know how to take a fall. That's
that's
crazy,
crazy.
man.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
wrestling, that's not a big part of their curriculum, learning how to fall, even though a big part of wrestling is learning how to take somebody down. So people are planting their hands, like landing on their shoulders, getting
Oh
injured.
yeah, laying their hands out and break
Yeah.
a wrist and elbow. Even though that's a vicious sport, I always say wrestling is one of the most grinding sports out there. But they don't know how to fall.
They don't know how to fall. I think if they did learn how to fall, it would preserve a lot more. Because I see a lot of teenagers, they like to cross train in wrestling,
Yeah,
and I see a lot of injuries. So it's very
yeah,
unfortunate. I'm glad you brought that up. Like learning how to break fall, super important. Super important.
super important. Well, let me ask you the battle question these days, which I like to call the battle on my head: gi or no gi? Come on, which one, brother?
All right. So gi or no gi. Now I'm a person. I'm like a contrarian. So when I see people moving in a direction, like a whole herd of people, I move in the other direction. It's just because there's
Okay,
a lot to be learned there. The entire herd is
gotcha.
moving towards the no gi direction right now. And as a matter of
Yeah,
fact, I
yeah.
trained no gi probably most of my life because I said it was hard to find knowledge at the time. So we borrowed a lot from wrestling, catch wrestling, and for the last prior to last year, I was just focused on no gi. Like I would only train no gi. Maybe I put on the gi once or twice a year, But then I
Wow.
see that like everybody is doing no gi now. So November of 2024, I was in Brazil and I was just looking for no gi, and the only place I could find it was BTT, Brazilian Top Team. So I would show up there 2 days a week, and then I got invited by the sensei there to go show up at his house, and we were training no gi. But then every other day I had to train gi, and I fell back in love with it. I was just like, man, I
Yeah.
missed this. I don't understand why. Like, I feel like there's so many more opportunities, so much more technique, so many more skill sets you can do.
Yes.
You can't just like be sweaty and scramble out of stuff. Not to say I still do no gi a lot. I still love it.
Yeah.
But again, everybody's doing that. I'm gonna let them do that. And so that's where now I've said, okay, since I'm gonna focus in the gi, I am going to primarily dedicate my next few years of training in a gi. So in doing judo,
That's awesome.
Brazilian Jitsu, and kudo is all in a gi. Right. So I said, well, if
Yeah.
the whole, I mean, my goal during COVID was I saw this kudo video. It's for those of you that don't know kudo, Japanese MMA, right? With headbutts
Mhm.
and you do
Yep.
groundwork,
Yeah.
right? Every
And
fight's three.
Sambo.
Dude, it's great. It's awesome. So I was like, man, that's the fighting spirit. That's how jujitsu was for me back in the 90s. Like it was so cool.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing it, and it's almost like its own thing. And I was like, I want to get back into that. So I became part of the USA Kudo Federation. I got my brown belt in kudo. And, I said,
Nice.
in getting my brown belt, I wanted to get my black belt in judo. I needed to learn all these throws again. And that rekindled my
Yeah.
love for the gi. So now I'm all about the gi. And I'm not
All
trying to
right.
change anybody's minds. I show up in the class in the gi, even in no gi sessions. Say, hey, anybody willing to put on a gi with me? I'll put a gi with you for like the first couple of rounds. And I make sure I
Yeah.
take all my pictures in the gi. I do all my social media in the gi. And I'm like, I
That's
love
good.
the gi. So
I
anyway,
love it. Yes.
that's just where I'm moving into now. I'm moving back to the gi, back to my initial
Yeah.
love of it. I think it's so cool the way it looks. It makes me feel like I'm doing martial arts. I feel like
Yes.
I'm in a movie. And when I put on that costume, I'm like, yes, this is exactly where I
Yes.
want to be right now. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. I love it. The gi.
the gi is king. It's great. Now, if you're
That's
doing
it, man.
kudo has the coolest gis. So I was like, man,
No, man.
yes. So yeah,
I
so
feel you, brother.
I'm falling back in love with the gi, and I want to convince many people. We just had Adam Warzinski at our academy. He is like
Oh, wow. Yeah. He came to one
yeah,
of ours out in Illinois, man. That's awesome.
so good. And the way he grips the belt and
Phenomenal.
does all his sweeps and all his like foot sweeps from the guard, I was just like, you know what? That's why I love the gi right now. It's so exciting. He makes it exciting, and there's so much to learn and so much you can do. And so,
Yeah.
I'm in it. I'm in it right now. And I'd say
I
like,
love it.
now he's a gi guy. I've always been a martial artist. I love it all. I love it all.
There you go. I like it. But I'm going to mark you down as a gi
Yeah,
guy.
I'm a
Yeah.
gi guy right now. Gi guy right
Yes, you're on my side. So when I have
now.
these guys always telling me, "Yeah, now you need to come to no gi," I'm like, "Nope, I want my gi on."
Yeah, I like the gi.
They're like, "Oh,
You can wear no gi. Grapple me in a gi. It's fine. Yeah.
okay, go ahead, let's go."
The biggest drawback is laundry, though. Laundry is the biggest drawback. That is always piling up. I do dry my gis, though. I don't want to wait that long. I just go ahead and dry them.
You dry 'em?
I dry
No,
'em.
what I do
dry
with
'em.
mine, I put them, I take them, I wash them, I put them on air dry, until they get almost done. Then I'll pop them on heat. You know what I mean? It keeps them shrinking. You know.
Look at you. You have to be the most caring guy. You're like, I gotta make sure that I can't over dry it. And you see, you care about everything. Look at you.
That's
That's what training in a gi makes you. It makes you so
that's right. You take off the gi,
diligent.
you bow to it, you hang it up, you
Yeah,
bow to it. See you tomorrow.
yeah. I mean,
Oh man,
that's why I think it's cool. But the new generation like don't even want to put it on. Some of them are just
they
like,
don't want to put it on, man. It's not cool. Well, I've heard some guys say, "Well, you're on the street, you know, no one's going to have a gi on." I'm like, "What are you talking about? They got clothes. No one's
a
going to fight a
shirt, you got a
naked guy.
jacket.
What are you talking about?"
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you grab that shirt and move them around. You could do a lot of
Yeah, I
stuff.
do the same thing.
Yeah, and I have more. I mean,
Man, you're
it's
awesome,
also
dude.
if he doesn't have one, I still know how to grapple if he's not wearing a gi. It's not like that I don't
Yeah,
know.
duh. That doesn't change anything. I just carry an extra gi with me so I can give to the guy. Hey,
That's right.
hey, put
Yeah,
this
hey,
on
put
before
this
we
on.
fucking put the knife down. Put this on, bro.
That's good to
Now, do
know.
you?
It's good to know you're wearing a gi. It's good to know you're a gi
There
guy.
you go. There you go. Now, do you do any other kind of tactical training? Any weapons, anything like that?
Yeah, I've trained a lot of Kali, a lot of Filipino martial arts coming up too.
Okay.
So like single stick, double stick, dagger. I like to learn it all. I think that it makes you a well-rounded martial artist. I like firearms. I learn how to know how to shoot. I own quite a few firearms
Yeah.
myself. So I
Yeah.
think
There you go.
more of that will you got to learn different ways to defend yourself. And but overall, there are universal concepts that like angles and getting covered up and things like that. That are no matter what type of combat you're doing that are universal to all, and that's really what I'm interested in exploring, right? Is like what are the commonalities between everything. At some point I do want to do some weapons tournaments. Like right now in my Instagram feed I'm seeing like not just kendo, but all these guys got staffs and they got kendo equipment on and they're doing different
Yeah.
types of weapons.
Everything.
Back like
Yeah.
the Dog Brothers, those guys were doing basically
Oh
MMA.
man, you remember those guys?
Oh yeah, the Dog
Oh,
Brothers, man. MMA,
yeah.
and basically like they had like
Yes.
fencing helmets and hockey gloves and sticks and they were going
Just
at it.
doing it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
I
telling
mean
our age
that's
now, man.
cool. That's fighting right there. So I watch all that all the
Yeah.
time. You guys don't know Dog Brothers? Look up the Dog Brothers, man. Look them up on
Oh
YouTube.
man,
You can find some
it's very
stuff.
entertaining, I tell you.
Yeah. I think everything comes full circle. Everything will come full circle. So I love all martial arts, no matter what it is. But right now you can only learn so many at the same time, and so I try to be strategic about what I'm doing and
Yeah.
learn as fast as I can.
Awesome, man. This has been awesome, brother. You have made, you can tell I'm over here geeking out over here, just like, no, man, this back in the day. Man, so when are you gonna shoot for that triple crown? When you come for that?
Well, I try to take one major tournament every quarter. So this month I'm doing the Pan Ams down in Orlando. So that's kind of like a
Yeah.
getting ready for the Worlds, the Masters Worlds. That's going to be in August. Oh, sorry, the first week of September is the IBJJF Masters Worlds, and then 2 weeks after that, 3 weeks after that is the Veterans Judo World Championship out in Bosnia. So I'll be in Las Vegas and then going to Bosnia. And the
Wow.
Kudo World Championships is once every 2 years. So I don't get a shot at it this year, but I'm having my first Kudo fight when I'm on my 46th birthday coming up in June 12th.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go in there and
Yeah.
mix it up, and I'm in the businessman class, is what they call it. Called
I'm
business.
gonna write this down. June 12th.
June 12th.
The businessman class.
Businessman class. That's right. So it's over 45 years old. Businessman class, and the Kudo divisions do it by physical index. So it's how tall you are in centimeters plus your weight in
Oh,
kilograms. That's how you determine the weight classes. And so I could get down to the
oh,
250
okay.
index, but my sensei was like, "Listen, man, there probably might not be anybody there. There is somebody in 260. The guy there's a lot of retired MMA fighters coming out right now. I think I already have an opponent scheduled. It's tournament style,
Oh
so you
man.
do have to be careful about how much energy and how much damage you take
Yeah.
leading up to it. But I'm excited
Yeah.
about it. I haven't had an MMA type of fight for like almost 10 years now. I don't
Oh
plan to come out of
man.
retirement at all. Like forget about it. I'm too old for it. But I do want to mix it up, striking with some people. And Kudo is a sport where I can still do that. So that's what excites me about it. And my 46th birthday, some people like to, climb a mountain, jump off a plane. I'm just going to go try to fight with somebody. And those are, that's called the North American Kudo Championships. So I'm trying to go for like, big Grand Slam tournaments in all
Yeah.
three sports right now, just to kind of keep it
That's
challenging.
awesome.
And yeah, hopefully, maybe not in 2 years, 3 years, but hopefully the next 5 years, I will get all 3 world championship titles. It's only
Uh,
time will tell.
Man, I'm rooting for you, brother. Oh
Yeah, thank
man,
you,
you
thank
see, I
you.
wrote this down. June 12th, his birthday, when he beat somebody up.
Hopefully, or I get beat up. We'll see. Either way, I'm going to learn something.
Hey,
It'll be fun.
there you go.
Yeah,
We say you win or you learn, right?
that's right. That's right. It's going to be a good time.
Oh man, brother Nakapan, this has been. I can call you all kinds of different Nakapan. I want to make sure I'm saying your name right. It's such a cool
That's
name,
perfect.
Nakapan.
Thank you.
This has been amazing, brother. We appreciate you so much. And before you go, tell everyone how they can find you on social media, everywhere.
Yeah, sure. If you're ever in Washington, D.C., I run Body Efficient Tactical Arts, also known as Beta Academy. Go betaacademy.com. You can find us. We offer free trials. Also, if you're visiting, just come on through. If you're a martial arts school owner, you're looking to grow your school, you can find me on blackbeltsyndicate.org. And we're here to connect with you, help you grow your school, help you with your marketing systems, your front desk systems, your enrollment systems, all that stuff, help you avoid the pitfalls that I've also fallen victim to in the last 17 years. So we can help you there. I'm on all the social media stuffs. I have a company that helps me out with that. But you can find me on Instagram, Nakapan MMA. Find me on YouTube at Nakapan. TikTok and Facebook, and I do get a lot of messages. I try to do my best to get back to everybody, but more than welcome to message me there. And if you looking for courses that to help your martial arts journey, be it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, soon to be some Judo courses, you can check out my personal website. That's nakapanmma.com. I have a bunch of courses there, and all the proceeds from there go to support getting this Triple Crown World Champion. So I do appreciate everybody's support.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you so much. Guys, listen up. Hit this man up. Check him out. Hey, we're all going to root for him. Remember, June 12th, we're all going to sit on a very unified, go get him, cheer it, everything else, man, just for you, brother. I appreciate you more than you know. Thanks for taking the time coming on with us and sharing some of your wisdom. And, brother, you do have a lot of wisdom. Hopefully, we can get you on after you hit that Triple Crown, brother. We can talk about that, too.
I appreciate that. Love to be on the show. Thank you for the opportunity, Tony.
All right, you take care, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Lines on my face like cracks in the road. Still chasing fire through the years half slowed. Weights on my back, sweat in my eyes. Old man's fire.